My name is 5 Out from channel P90X. Today we have a discussion on the election of 1932 with Ishad, the conservative campaign, and Sam, the Democratic campaign. We'll be discussing high unemployment, banks, and foreign policy.
Hello, people of America. It's Ishad. I'm out here to discuss and represent the incumbent candidate for president, Herbert Hoover. Hoover is a great man. It may not seem like he's out here working too hard for the American people, but trust me, he knows what he's doing.
Hello everyone, I'm here representing the Democratic Party candidate, Franklin Roosevelt. Clearly for the past 4 years, things haven't been going too well, especially the last 3 after 1929. The economy ain't doing too great, and Hoover's been slacking, so we're representing a new deal to the American people with Franklin, be offered with Franklin Roosevelt.
Yeah. So Sam, unemployment is at 23% in the United States. How do you plan on fixing this?
I'm glad you asked that question. Now, Franklin Roosevelt has a radical new approach to the economy that is not yet seen in Hoover's administration. Roosevelt proposes that we need to have a more active role in government in order to solve this high unemployment crisis that's shaping America right now. This is completely different than our current incumbents' conservative views on how the government should act during this time of crisis. President Roosevelt promises to bring a new deal to the American people. He's going to make regulations in place that would keep America employed. He can put people to work by building dams that makes us energy independent, and he can put people to work in the Tennessee Valley area by increasing quality of roads and telegraph wires, which is what we plan on doing once we become elected. Thank you.
Ishad, what have you been doing to fix unemployment, and do you see any flaws in Sam's plan?
There's definitely some flaws in Sam's point of view, because Hoover is letting the economy fix itself. He's taking a very hands-off approach and letting the economy recover by itself, which is going to lead to it being stronger and better than ever. Sam argues that I'm not giving Americans American jobs. We've been working to get construction projects for the American people, so they can give them temporary jobs, so that they'll be less desperate, and they'll be able to make a little bit of income right now. The economy, though, it is weak. We know what we're doing, and we're going to make it better.
So Sam, how do you respond to this?
Now, Representative Ishad likes to mention all these programs that he's put in place that haven't really put in work yet. But they haven't been effective, and they've been in place for almost a year now. And if they've been effective, we'd see at least some change. But they're not dropping, or the unemployment rate is not dropping. So we need to have a more radical approach, which is what candidate Roosevelt would bring to the table, and that's what will fix America.
So, Ishad, 5,000 banks have gone out of business. How do you plan on fixing this?
Like I've previously stated before, the American economy, it needs to regrow, and we're going to take a very hands-off approach and let it naturally run its course. It's like nature. You let everything be, and everything will be all right. I know it seems like a dark cloud is hanging over the American society right now, but soon a rainbow will come in and shine down on it, and everything will be fine. We believe that too much government influence will only impede the economic recovery process. We're taking a very hands-off approach. Thank you.
5,000 banks have gone out of business. Any thoughts on this?
I'm glad you asked that question today, Matt, because that's one of the main issues of this campaign. Roosevelt will clearly support more liberal policies that will reshape the role of government in the modern world and help these struggling banks recover. First off, Roosevelt will propose a bank holiday, which during the very first part of his campaign will suspend all current banking acts and make it so that the bleeding will stop. Secondly, he's going to propose a program called the FDIC, which is going to insure the American people against bank failures in the future. So if you invest in the bank, and the bank turns out to be a fraud and fail, you're going to guarantee at least most of your money back that you get, which will prevent crises like this in the future. Now, we saw some things in candidate Hoover's plan that Ishad mentioned that didn't turn out so well. And he has this hands-off approach that's going to supposedly fix the American economy and make it stronger. But we can't make it stronger if this is just going to be an endless cycle of people going rogue with a lot of other people's money, and it doesn't turn out so well. So that's why we're proposing this more regulatory process. Thank you.
So, Ishad, any thoughts on Sam's comments?
I think Sam is full of crap because candidate Sam says that is making it seem like the American people who run the banks are bad people. They're not bad people. They're human beings, just like you and me. I think that if we give them a chance, the good people of the banks will fix the situation. They know we're in a crisis, and I know that they'll find a way to resolve the situation by themselves. Thank you.
Ishad, so the United States has thousands of troops in foreign countries. Should we keep it like this?
Having American troops in foreign countries, especially those in Latin America, is a terrible idea, and I'm working currently to remove those troops because we support transitioning Americans' interventionist policies to non-interventionists to rebuild America's reputation in the Western Hemisphere. That means that we're getting rid of the troops in foreign countries so that people don't think that people from foreign countries have a better perception of us, and that they can see that we're not really trying to invade their territory and impose our own will. We're trying to keep everybody free, peaceful, and happy. Thank you.
On the street, we found two civilians discussing conservative and democratic views.
Well, as a fellow Stanford grad, I strongly support Herbert Hoover's foreign policy in Latin America, particularly his good neighbor policy, which is pulling a lot of troops out of the Latin American states where they don't need to be. And it's not only improving relations between the U.S. and Latin America, this lack of intervention is saving us a lot of money. And it respects the autonomy of nations in a much more concrete way that truly speaks to American values.
Well, I'm a Democratic woman, but I'm in favor of Roosevelt. I like his policies because he realizes that his priority is America, to get us out of a depression. But he also realizes that Latin America is our neighbor and that we need to be a good neighbor in a peaceful way. But if Latin America needed help, we would be there to help them.
Sam, any thoughts on this?
I'm glad you asked that question today, Matt. Now, we applaud the current administration for what they've done in Latin America and in the foreign policy. And we do agree that we should be transitioning from an interventionist to a non-interventionist system. However, some of the ways that it has gone about this have not been as effective as they could be, which should be fixed in the Roosevelt administration. Also, by continuing these policies that have been set up by Hoover, we can go further with a lot of our economic policies that would be much more effective in the Roosevelt administration, which is the bulk of the issues for the United States in this time. By using the current president's model for foreign policy and tweaking it just a little bit, we can conserve a lot of time and a lot of effort spent on foreign policy and redirect it back to the American public, which is where it needs to be. Because the economic issues are terrible right now, and we need to fix that right now. Thank you.
Ishad, any closing thoughts on the President's stances?
We've carried on an unceasing campaign to protect the nation from those unhealing class bitternesses which arise from strikes and lockouts and industrial conflict. We have accomplished this through the willing agreement of employer and labor, which placed humanity before money through the sacrifice of profits and dividends before wages. We've defended millions from the tragic result of droughts. We have mobilized a vast expansion of public construction to make work for the unemployed. We fought the battle to balance the budget. We've defended the country from being forced off the gold standard with its crushing effect upon all who might be in debt. We have battled to provide a supply of credits to merchants and farmers and industries, and we have fought to retard falling prices. We have struggled to save homes and farms from foreclosures and mortgages, battling to save millions of depositors and borrowers from the ruins caused by the failures of banks, and we fought to assure the safety of millions of policyholders from failure of insurance companies. Now, do all these accomplishments seem like Hoover's a bad guy? Come on now. Hoover for president.
Sam, any closing thoughts?
I'm glad I got the opportunity to have these closing thoughts today. Now, we just heard a rather eloquent speech by Ishad about his closing thoughts. However, his candidate, Herbert Hoover, has done nothing effective to actually do those things that he said he's done. Now, he said that they've defended millions from tragic result of droughts, yet the Midwest is still failing in a lot of the agricultural areas. And he's mobilized a vast expansion of public construction to make work for the unemployed. Yet all those supposed construction workers are living in what is called Hoovervilles, making fun of his own name about how little he's doing for the American people. If you elect candidate Roosevelt, he promises you a new deal for the American people, a deal where you won't get screwed over by those bosses on Wall Street. You will have power. The government will protect you in your economic and social lives. He's going to offer new programs that will ensure the security for America, financially and economically. By electing President Roosevelt, we can save ourselves from this crisis. Thank you.
So, thank you, Ishak. Thank you, Sam, for joining us today on Channel P90X.
Thanks for having us here, Matt.
Thanks for having us here, Matt. And good
Good.
your candidates.
Yep.
Good.
Roosevelt. Hoover. Roosevelt. Hoover. Roosevelt. Roosevelt. Hoover. Roosevelt.